Once upon a time, in a beautiful bright village. In this village lived Amara. Amara is a very beautiful and rich young lady. Amara lived in a big house. She had lots of shiny clothes and many jewels. Amara was an only child of her wealthy parents, so her father had taught her how to make wealth at her young age before her father passed on. Now Amara has her own money and also the wealth her father left for she and her mother. Amara and her mother lived very big in their big house. Everyone in the village admired Amara each time they saw her, but she didn't relate or talk with poor people. She only loves to hang out with people who were wealthy just like her. She liked to be with people within her class. But then Amara's mother loved everyone. She loved to give to those that has less. She welcomed them and related with them. But Amara took her character from her father. One day, Amara's mother called her to sit and began to speak to her about getting married. She told her, "Amara, my dear, time is not on your side. You have to find a man and settle down." But Amara told her mother that she has not found the right man for her, for she wants a fine man who is as rich as she is. But then, her mother was worried about how she has been rejecting the good men that has been coming for her. Amara refused to marry and said she will wait until she finds a desired man. So Amara waited and waited and waited. One cool evening, Amara met Uchemba. Uchemba was a very wealthy and handsome man. He was from another village, but not too far. Amara felt very happy that she has found her kind of man. So she liked Uchemba so much, and Uchemba also liked her. Amara wanted them to get married, but Uchemba did not like the idea. He wants them to date for a while, so they will get to know and understand each other better before proceeding into marriage. So Amara said okay, and they both began to date. Amara would always go to Uchemba's house and spend some days there before returning to her house. Their relationship was going perfectly well. They laughed and played together. They also went out together. But as time passed on, things began to change. Amara never respected anybody, especially the people that has less. She doesn't like to have the poor around her. She doesn't care about them, and she doesn't give to them. She badly treated the workers in Uchemba's house. She doesn't care about them. She often yelled at them and punished them. But Uchemba, on the other hand, loves everyone. He always had the poor around him, and he always gave to them. Uchemba treated his house workers like his family. His kind gesture of helping the poor makes people love him so much, and it gives him so much joy. So this thing became a challenge for them, and they began to have misunderstanding in their relationship. One day, Amara got so angry and left the house. They did not break up, but they just gave themselves some space to figure things out. So, Uchemba tried to change Amara. He spoke to her several times to change her character so she can become the woman he wants. But she couldn't. So, Uchemba broke up with Amara, and they both went their separate ways. Amara's mother was very sad that her character had made her lose the man that wanted to marry her. The villagers whispered about Amara and Uchemba, at how she had lost a very good man because they knew that Uchemba loved everybody. But then, Amara did not bother. She said she would just wait for another man. Now, not so long after her breakup with Uchemba, Amara met Nonso. Nonso is also a very handsome and wealthy young man. Unlike Amara, Nonso came from a very poor background. He is the first person to break out of poverty in his family. So because of that, he loves helping and supporting people. His family members always come to his house. His parents and siblings are always in his house. So, Amara and Nonso met and liked each other. Nonso was very good to her, and so was she. So they both began to date as they think of getting married. It seemed like Amara finally found her dream man. Nonso was everything Amara desired, and even more. He bought her many gifts, took her to fun places, and he always made sure she was happy. They laughed, they played, and their hearts were full of joy. Now, after some time, things began to change again. Nonso cared for Amara and loved her so much, but she did not reciprocate the act. She didn't appreciate anything he did. Amara didn't respect anybody in the house. When Nonso's friends and family members came to the house, Amara did not greet them. Even when Nonso's parents came by the house, Amara did not even greet them well or treat them nicely. Nonso's parents noticed this and were not happy because they didn't like her character. So they advised their son to leave Amara because her character is not good for their family. But then, Nonso was already getting tired of the bad character that Amara has. So he had no choice but to break up with her. So he broke up with Amara and they both went their separate ways. Now she was single again. Amara continued living her big life in her mansion with her mother. Now after a while, she met Ayo. Ayo is also a very handsome and rich guy, but he lives very far away from Amara's village. He only comes to do business. But then they both fell in love and began to date. So anytime Ayo comes to the village, he will stay at Amara's house. Ayo liked Amara so much, and so did Amara. Ayo cared about Amara so much, and he never complained about her character, for he never saw anything wrong in her. Now, Amara said to herself that this is the one, that she has finally found her perfect match. They so loved each other. They danced together, they laughed, and they ate yummy foods together. And they moved around the village together. They also carried out business activities together. Amara was very happy because Ayo was very business-minded like her. And he also supported her in her business activities. Now, as time passed on, things began to change again. Amara will ask Ayo to take her to his town so she will know where he lives. But Ayo refused to take her, and he promised to take her there when the time for their marriage comes. That for now, they should focus on planning their wedding. Anytime Amara wants to go and see his place, he will cover it up with marriage talk. And anytime he talks about marriage, she will just forget about every other thing because she is so eager to marry him. So she forgot about knowing his place and they focused on planning their marriage. One night, Ayo and Amara went out and they partied all night and they were drunk. They got to the house and the next day, Ayo traveled back to his place. He told Amara that he wants to go and tell his people about his marriage plans. So he left. 3 days later, Amara went to her company and she found out that the company ownership has changed. The company is no longer hers. And she was shocked, wondering what is happening. So she made inquiries and realized that the company has been sold by Ayo. Now, unfortunately, Ayo is not the good guy that she thought. Ayo is a criminal who just came to her life to dupe her. It happened that the night they partied, in Amara's drunken state, Ayo has manipulated her to sign some documents, and she did because she was drunk. Now, Amara left the company and went to the house and discovered that Ayo did not only sell the company, but everything that belonged to her was taken over by Ayo and sold, including her investments and her other businesses. Now, Amara has lost everything she ever owned. Now, the only thing left is the little world that was left by her father, and that one is handled by her mother. Amara cried and almost killed herself, but her mother held on to her. Amara tried to look for Ayo, but could not because she didn't know his place. Now, Amara is no longer as rich as she used to be, for she is now dependent on her mother. She will now have to start all over again and build from scratch. Now, Amara sat down and began to think about her life. She thought about the bad choices she had made. She thought about her relationship with Uchimba and Nonso, and how her ways of life had made her lose the good men that loved her and wanted to marry her. And her character had led her to the man who has taken everything she ever worked for. Now she began to wonder that this is not just about getting the perfect man, but I need to become a better person. Amara became very sad because she no longer have that her big luxury lifestyle. She misses the days when she can buy whatever she wants and do with her money whatever she wants. Now, Amara began to live a simpler life. She began to think about how she treated people. She began to think about how she treated Uchemba and the people in his house. She also thought about how she treated Nonso's family. She said to herself, I have not been a good person. I did not treat the workers in Uchemba's house well. Neither did I respect Nonso's family. Amara realized that she has been looking for a good man to marry without thinking about being a good woman for a man. Amara realized all her mistakes and she began to live a different life. Now, she began to accept the people that has less. She also began to relate with them and to play with them. She began to share with them the little she has. And she began to speak to the people she ignored because they were poor. Amara's heart began to change as she lived a simpler life. She learned to respect and appreciate people. She learns to love and care for people. She found out that being rich with money was not the same as being rich in heart. One day, Amara sat with her mother and began to apologize to her mother for how she has badly behaved and how she has refused to listen to her mother's questions. Her mother was so happy that the daughter has begun to change into a better person. So, as Amara continued to live a simpler life, a life full of love and happiness among others, Amara found a man. Amara met Nduka. Nduka was very different from all the men that Amara has met before. Nduka was not very rich, but he was a very good man. He was very kind, and he cared so much about Amara and her mother. So Nduka and Amara began to date. They laughed and helped each other. Amara loved Nduka so much because he always made her happy. She did not have her bad behaviors anymore. She respected everyone and cared for Nduka's family. So one day, Nduka asked Amara to marry him, and she accepted. They got married and started their family in a small house. They were very happy together. Nduka and Amara didn't have much, but they had a good life and they had each other. They shared and managed what they had, and they worked together to build their lives and to make their home a place of love and joy. Amara was loyal and respectful to Nduka, and so was Nduka. They helped and respected each other. The neighbors were very happy at how Amara has changed and turned into a better person. She was kind to people now, she helped others, and she smiled even more. Now, Amara has changed. She learned that happiness doesn't come from only having so much wealth, but happiness comes from sharing life with people who cared about you. Happiness comes from being kind to others. Amara finally found the man she was looking for, not in wealth or in a big life, but in a heart that matched hers. So, Amara and Nduka built their lives back up to riches again, and they lived happily forever.